Let's stand first, like always, so that you can receive, so that we can receive. Pussies. I gotta turn off the viewer list because it's really distracting. So, right, I always go through it. Straight legs. Bent knees. Arms in the bow. Flat back. Right, I could just say flat back. Flat back meaning push, make your lumbar concave, thoracic convex. Flat back in front of your belly button, chin down, back of the neck extended, right? Feel the energy in your spine. All those curves create eddies, right? When you don't want eddies. You don't want a meandering energy column. Remember on the out breath to extend, right? Feel your discs in your spine separating upward. Middle in front of the heart. Shoulders down. So yeah, on that out breath, right? I've explained already. Hopefully you guys are doing the training. I think now these videos are more, you prepare, right, to receive, right? By doing the breathing, right? The standing meditation. And then you can hear what I say, and perhaps you don't get triggered, or perhaps your goggles are less foggy because of the breathing. The more you do it, the more you are in tune, right? And it's that out breath. Like just now, I could feel it, and that's only 17 breaths. You breathe out, right, so slowly that there's a silence, right? You can hear that silence, feel it, even with the birds or the crows squawking outside and the house creaking. There's that particular quality of, like, you can, even in that short instance of fucking doing it just 17 breaths, right? You can make that connection, right? That connection to source. And it fucking sounds lame because all of this new age shit has ruined all of these words. So that low tone is where I need to get, right? And it's almost like if I can get that super slow out breath, right? If I try to overplay it, I can't play it. And it's almost like, yeah, another little trick. So I have, are you vain like me? Right? Just to smash that motherfucker and throw it down the drain like me. What is that? Halsey? Yeah. Dark lyrics, right? Are you insane like me? Yeah. Insane, right? Not outsane. So do we burn it down or do we light it up, right? If you're a co-pilot on a Comanche helicopter, right, you say light it up, right? But that just means blow everything to shit. Right, all of you military guys, you have an insight, right, into the reality that most of us don't get, right? And whether or not that allows you to see better, I have no idea, but I know some of y'all do. It's an unnecessary job, right? It's only necessary if we operate the way we do. So I ain't dogging you. I ain't saying shit about it. I'm just saying that if you're identified as a warrior, and that warrior definition is about killing, then you got it wrong, right? What is it that can allow our bodies to do high level math without thinking, right? Which is the, calculating the trajectory of incoming objects, right? Why are we so good at that? we are, right? Last time I was saying we don't have these built-in tools, right? That like the other animals have, that specialize them to their habitat and to their particular mode of being. We don't have those, but we do, right? We do, and but they're the kind of specializations that are for being generalists, right? Um, so there's all of these contradictions, right? When you try to explain what it is to be human, and that's because thought creates division, right? Because there's always a clear before and after demarcation of the timeline, or right. And because we're in and we're ambulatory, we're in a body and we're ambulatory, then time is linked to everything that we do, because we either are in a position or we are transitioning to another position, right? Another location. Um, so we have these gifts, right? Um, some of us more than others, but all of us, right? It's just when we try to cognitively attach ourselves to these gifts, like when you're trying to teach your 7-year-old how to catch and they think they don't have enough time to catch it. And so they actually get there early, right, with their hands, and they meet the object too quickly, it bounces off their hands, or you bounce it to them and they go to where it's going to bounce, and then it bounces up and hits them in the face, right? But if they would let go of trying to like um, figure out what is required to catch it, right, then they would be able to just let their body catch it, you know. And there's this Malcolm Gladwell book called Blink, right, and it's probably his best one, but it's a bunch of case studies. And so they rehash the same information over and over, but the information is that uh, Blink stands for that instantaneous evaluation, right, that human beings can do, like without thinking. And you often will get a better, a more accurate evaluation of whatever it is um, with a snap judgment than with a calculated response. And so, what is that? What is that? The ability of human beings, when they don't attach to their identity, they have a higher, they have a better ability to evaluate the situation, the surroundings. Um, and so that is that one frame, right? One frame of flow state, right? That is that, right? Just a snap judgment, right? In the blink of an eye, right? One of the examples Gladwell uses is to be at a tennis match and be able to see, right, that whether or not the player is going to serve it long or in the net, right, or right in, right, and you can kind of, without even knowing what you're seeing, you can see that what's happening, right? You're taking it in the instantaneous moment. You can basically say, as he tosses the ball in the air, right, and brings his racket back, he or she, whether or not they're going to fault on that serve. And so this is that, right, that instantaneous evaluation, right? And so that's a lot of what we have to, that's how it's with information, right? It makes it really hard to do, right? Unless you can just look at something and see it, holistically. Uh, it's hard to do. So when you're reading information or when you're listening to like what I'm saying, for example, you have to take in the whole image of what I'm delivering, right? And then evaluate it, right? Just by listening to a few of my sentences and being like, or, right, when you come on and it's not entertaining enough for you. Right? So what I'm saying is this intuitive faculty, right, is a blink evaluation, right? So when you're hearing this, right, you turn on the blink camera, right? So instead of just one frame, right, of flow state perception, you get a constant, right, recording of what I'm saying. And so for each frame, you're like, yep, I feel that, right? I feel what he's saying, right? So I'm going to continue on to the next, right? And then I'm going to assemble each of these things into a grander, right, image, right? And so I'm creating an image, but my one of my main arguments for the technique to let go of your psychological sense of self, right, which is one of the main things is to not create an image, right? Because images are icons or symbology is all based on the collective knowledge and your own experience, right? And so that is an image, right? And so that is an idealization, right? And I say ideal, it doesn't mean it's ideal. It just means that it's um, it's a it's a cookie cutter, right? It's got this same kind of shape to it because it's the shape of your worldview. So, but that is the paradox of the transference of information, right? Because we're using symbols, we're using thoughts, we're using words, we're using our experiences, and we are putting them together like a gestalt, right? I am, right? And this is how I see the world. At first, growing up, I could see it all at once, and so I could be like, oh, and I would have these epiphany moments, but then I would try to put it into words, and you know, it would the words weren't there, and they collapsed it in a way that they like gave it an edge. The edge of the image, right, was fucked up because the words don't suffice, right? But so, right, I think I've gotten better at it, and I've gotten more patient with myself, and also to try not to create a perfect delivery, right? And so that's when I took this break, around my birthday. I was just like, this is like stupid, right? It's a joke, and it is kind of funny. You have to admit, right? But there is a gold center, right? There is the core of this package, right? This package that is not a package because, right, I don't fucking present. I'm just permitting. So you can see the irony, right, of having to use words while saying that words are not the thing. The word is not the thing. The map is not the territory, right? So that's what's so kind of funny about it too, and that's why we have to have a sense of humor. That's why I do anyway. And it's like, people who you roll in while I'm standing, right, on these lives, and they're just like, what is going on here? You know, they're just looking for a little scratch on the back. Mostly people are, you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that to make me fucking feel better about myself, to get me through the day, to make me chuckle. Right? Yeah, that's entertainment. And so, what is it that that I'm doing? What is it that any of us are fucking doing, right? And the controlled opposition aspect is just, yeah, live your life, try to have a good life, and fucking, um, you know, stop uh, trying to fix it. Stop, just fucking have a good life. And there's, you know, there's something to that, but that is also reinforced, right, on every motherfucking level. And so whenever I see that, no matter what camp you're in, there's that message, you know, which is to stop thinking you're something or someone, or that there is something to be done, right? And right, so in the new age, in the truther, right, we have everyone saying this, right? We have Jordan Peterson. This is what he says, right, when he's saying make your bed before you try to fucking make the bed of fucking civilization. Everyone is, you know, and so it's almost like that's when I'm saying, like, okay, yeah, you know, that's the overall message, is just let the aggregate pattern play out and fucking stop trying to make an impact or to divert the flow or to save your anyone, right? Just save yourself. And so yeah, that's the paradox, right, that we're that I'm trying to deal with, because yes, that is true. Right. When I say that our purpose as a race, right, as a sentient being, as a group of sentient beings, a cooperative group of sentient beings, is we have this gift, right, that we're here, and that if we could operate in the most effective way as the collective, as a collective, right, then we would actually make this whole place much better, right? That it's not supposed to be this it's not supposed to be easy, right, to be creative, but it's not supposed to be this like individual fucking meat grinder, you know, where it just everyone goes in and it grinds you out, you know. And some people come out as fucking, you know, they miss the, you know, whatever. It is a kind of a meat grinder fucking setup, right? Our society. And it's a homogenization, right? So you go in different and you come out as, you know, grinded all together. But the point I'm getting at is that, right, that is not good enough, right? That fucking sucks, in fact, right? That it's just about your individual journey and you got to navigate this fucking gnarly fucking machine. And, you know, it's, you know, it's pretty arbitrary whether or not you're going to get a, you know, a golden ticket or a fucking, you know, the opposite, right? Pure suffering, you know. And so that is not, right, that is kind of a canceling out of our gift, right? Where it's like the joy and the wonder and the love and the awe, right, is all canceled out by the suffering and the absolute fucking horror, right? And so that's unnecessary, right? That's a waste of our gift, right? And if you look at the aggregate output, right, you see that what it outputs is bullshit, right? Is this furrow, right? This circular pattern, this repetition, this zero progress, right? Zero progress psychologically. Meanwhile, a collective accumulation of technical knowledge that applied in the same fashion as we've been doing it since the beginning, right? You can see that the output is fucking bullshit, right? And so this just let it be, just let it go and have a good life, right? Some of us were sent here to make sure that this disease, right, this malfunctioning, right, is set right, right? And so that's why I can't not do it, right? That's why I'm absolutely miserable when I'm just out there hustling, trying to get mine. And so we can, it's right. I don't even see it as that difficult, right? To make this urgent change inside of our minds, I don't think it's even that hard, right? But if you look at our track record, right, we have a circular furrow, right? Just a rut in the same path, and perhaps the circle's getting tighter, right? Perhaps, right? It is a spiral, but it's a 2D spiral coming from the outside into the middle to the singularity at the point at which, right, something's got to fucking give, right? The Ouroboros runs out of tail, right? Listen to the podcast from the beginning, right? You can see my journey, 2.5 years of this, like starting and stopping and just wondering what the fuck, right? It's all about, right? But it's mostly an internal, right, exploration, right? Over the years, I've taken in so much, right? But the time of books is over for me, right? It's all an internal exploration. There is some good information, right? But it's the kind of information that shuts down the bullshit, right? And so if you don't want that, right? If you don't want the continual stream of bullshit to be stopped, right? To be able to divert that, right, from your perception, right? Not ignore it, just don't let it affect the way you see the world, right? Apophatic fucking filter, right? What we are not, right? So you become who you are by knowing who you are not. Is the urgency of change by Krishnamurti. So it lays it out there pretty fucking clear, right? And he speaks of image and all of that, but he doesn't really talk about, right? I don't think he uses the word value that often, but that's the approach that I take with it, which is that if you make this psychological transformation, you then know thyself, right? And it's a switch. It's not a lifelong fucking meditative process. It's a switch, and that switch can be switched back off. Like you can be like, and then click, oh fuck, right? And then you have to like click that shit back on again. Yeah. So that, right, that book is quality. That's information that's necessary, right? And this is everything that I'm trying to say. But when you make this psychological transformation, right, and you know thyself, right, then you know you're not your body. You know you're not your thoughts, right? You know that you're this divine energetic structure that is that your body is the 3D uh, the 3D version of, right? So your body is the 3D version of your soul, you know, and so but right, if you operate in this world like this is what it is, right, that is required to protect, right, then that is a a conception of value, right, which is a divided uh, um, perception, right, that everything is divided, right, that everything is separate, right. If you are maintaining, right, this, you are this maintaining this, right, this protection of who you think you are, right, that's a division, right, and that's a cascading effect that goes through everything, right. And so if you operate from that position, right, you're operating from um, a conception, a certain conception of value, and there's only two ways to conceive of value, right. um, this conception of value is when you are a divided consciousness, you see value as limited, right? And so something that is limited, right? And of a uh, finite supply, of a finite number of, right? And so the more rare something is, right, the more valuable it is, right? And so that is the scarcity model of value, right? That is supply and demand, right? This is the uh, version, right? These are the initial conditions, right? This is the root cause of the emanating pattern of our civilization, right? This is it, right? So if we see value as this, as limited, right, then we will attempt, right? All of our fucking relationships will be, right, from a selfish perspective, right? Um, from a perspective of self preservation, right? Um, not only of your living selves, right, but of your sense of who you are, your identity, right? And so it's a division. Um, and so it's a dividing of the totality, right? It's you are separating yourself out, you are dividing out all of the requirements um, for that a body requires to survive, right? And measuring those, right? And so to conception of value, right? When you realize who you are, right? That you are not divided, right? That you are not your body, right? That your body is just your vehicle. Um, that you are not your thoughts, you are not your experiences, that experience is not the purpose, right, of being alive, right? The experience is actually, um, right, this whole construction, right, this artificial construction, right, of what it is we think that we are, right? And so when we think individually, right, then we are thinking on that divided, from a divided position, right? And so anything that we do at that point creates more division, right? It's more division. It's more like you get a finer scale, right? Which is what society, civilization has done over the years in repeating the same pattern, right? They increase the resolution. We increase our resolution. It's a finer and finer look, right, at the same thing. And so, right, to let go of that, right, is general semantics, right, which is this idea is that the only way to learn something new is to have space for the new to enter, right, and so as to not make a declaration of what you think it is before doing the exploration, right? So no preconceived notions, right? The word is not the thing, right? The word is a construct that we've developed, right, over time, right? The thing itself is independent of the name that we give it. And the map is not the territory, right? So our accumulated knowledge is our map, right? And if we are looking at our map when we're trying to discover new territory, right, you'll see that's an impossibility, right? That the new territory is not on the motherfucking map. You guys get that? Right? I mean, that's almost the perfect analogy, right? And so in order for something new to come in, we have to abandon everything that we think we know, right? We have to not abandon it, but we have to be like, okay, we have to allow for that this is likely not a complete model, right? This is not a complete map, right? We have to acknowledge that absolute knowledge has not been attained, right? And may not be possible to attain. It's likely not, right? It's likely not. And so this is where we get into this real tricky area, right? Which is this is the contradiction, right? That yes, absolute knowledge cannot, you can only ever approach the truth, right? You can only ever approach the truth. And so, right, and that's what I was just describing. You can only approach the truth. You can never actually arrive there. You can cross certain thresholds, right? But then there's this whole new data set, right, that we were unaware of before, right? But the contradiction, right, in that is that basically what I'm saying, right, which is what I'm trying to describe is that there is a truth, right? And the truth is, right, that the truth, the absolute truth is unobtainable, right? And so you operate from that truth, right? From that fact, right? Is that will never arrive, right? We can only approach it. And so that is an absolute truth, right? But if you listen to my episode called Self-Reference, right, it's really important because when you're inside of something, right, and you're trying to describe that something, then you are part of that something. And so you have to reference the self in order to describe that thing. It creates a circular relationship and a contradiction, right? The self-reference contradiction. It's the barber analogy, right? Is that no no man in town can shave himself, right? But what about the barber, right? Right. So he is in town and he's the one doing the shaving, but he is excluded from the set because he cannot shave himself, right? Yeah, listen to that episode, self-reference. So it's tricky to comprehend, but you can mess around with it as a thought experiment, right? Is that when you are part of a set of data and you're trying and consciously trying to evaluate that data set, you can't abilide referencing yourself, right? And so you can't have an objective. The objectivity is impossible, right? And so that's what the observer effect is saying, right? Is that there is no objective truth because the observer affects the fucking outcome, right? But, right, there is an objective truth, right? And it is that, right? So the objective truth is that there is no objective truth. That the objective truth is that if you have to let go of your sense of self in order to be aware of the actuality of things, right? I don't know. I think I'm fucking kind of getting there. But so yeah, when you've come across these, right, nothing can stop this from happening. Nothing can stop me from doing this, right? I'm very determined and ambitious, right? Not for myself, but I want this, this embellishment that we are supposed to do, right, to actually go into effect, right? And I realize that having a good life is an embellishment, right? We are consciousness experiencing itself, and so experiencing joy is an embellishment, right? But I think the idea is that we maximize that, right? We don't cancel it out with the destruction and the mayhem and the horror and suffering, right? The idea is that we actually make a lasting effect instead of just repeating this massive build and then destruction, right? This build and then, right, this discontinuous this discontinuous function, right? Right, that's dual meaning, right? The function of our society and the function, right, of the graph that our society makes over time, right? It's discontinuous. Yeah, so that's what I've been struggling with, right? Is I'm struggling, right? And it's because I have this, my fucking manifestation is huge. Whatever, because whatever, right? This is just me talking out my ass right now, right? But I know there's something, right? There's something that I'm supposed to be doing. But yeah, so I didn't come here just to fucking, you know, right? It's not supposed to be fucking easy, but it's supposed to be that we put our maximum, we get our maximum output, and the output is all awesome, right? That's the idea, right? That's our gift, right? To, if we can become what we were intended to be, right? Which is these physical beings that actually gets their hands in the dirt, you know, that and actually can make it embellish the creation, right? Embellish God's creation, or the, you know, to my mind, the creator is the creation, right? And that's what the Hermetic principles say. But yeah, right? We're not supposed to fucking, this canceling out of the awesome, right? It creates this circular pattern, right? And that isn't, right? That isn't what we're supposed to be doing. So yeah, like part of my fucking problem is that I go back and forth on this because I'm just like, I'm suffering, man. It's like I'm trying to make this happen, but my life fucking sucks. So it would be nice, right, to actually have an impact, right? Towards this creation that I've visualized, right? Which is an infrastructure that permits the actual most, the highest and best good for everyone, right? And for the highest and best output of our civilization, right? This true embellishment of the cosmos, right? This true God's gift, right? This is what we have, and it's so amazing, right? And to see us squandering it, right, is, and then having everyone saying, just fucking get over yourself and have a good life. And, no, that's not why I came here. Um, so, not just to describe the psychological transformation, which is to let go of your identity, right? And stop trying to defend your sense of self, right? Which is just, in society, it's mostly just your status and not your life. There's this constant threat, right? That is presented by the authority so that we will accept the authority's offer. And when we accept the offer, then the damage is on us. We take the damage when we take the offer, right? And so it is that offer, right, that we must refuse. And right, Mithras is the god of contracts, right? First god really to ever show up on the scene, and he's the god of contracts, right? That should say something to you guys, right? We are not born of sin, we're born into sin. And when we accept that, right, when we say, yeah, I'm born into sin, right, I'm sin, I'm a sinner, then we have signed the contract, right? And that's the ultimate controlled opposition. Right now, our lives are, it's a foregone conclusion, right? Once we sign that contract. And so I refuse, right? I refuse, and I have refused. And if we can, there's no if, right? We be the effect that, right? Be the effect that creates the cause, right? There's no if, right? It's a switch. It's a switch. But, right, there's this seed, right? And that I am planting. And who the fuck else is doing it, right? Tell me who else is doing it, right? Who else is not fixing the system with the system, right? Right. I am proposing a brand new system, right? And saying that the one that we have is corrupt, and can lead nowhere, can only lead to our destruction or our static, our stasis movement in place, running in place, right? Which is this automated social credit system. Who else, right? Show me some love, right? If you happen to see this, right, and you comprehend what I'm saying, right, then you comprehend that there is, right, not only do we abandon our absolute fucking fixation on protecting our sense of self, right? Right, that's first step, right? And you become more of who you are if you do that, right? I've said this over and over and over again, but I have this vision, right? That since forever, right? Since I was in high school, basically, it's been coming in these images, right? In these grand images. But at this point, right, after all of these years, I have a way to put it together, right? An actual infrastructure that permits the sacred exchange of value between human beings, and this is the value, right? The other value that I speak of, which is the value that is only increasing, right? And that when you have an ever increasing supply of something, right, then you can't raise the price on it, and what creates the actual addition to the supply is people living, right? And so that we will never want for anything, right? If we can, we will never want for anything if we will never want for anything by being who we truly are, who we always have been, right? Ever present origin, what we were meant to be, what we always are, what we are, but we have forgotten, I guess, you know. Um, so yeah, we have the technology to manage the resources, right? And it's not this Jacques Fresco fucking shit where you have a central authority fucking cataloging the resources of the earth, you know. No central authority, right? So what I'm saying is, what I propose is organization without leadership, right? Uh, and that is possible. We have the ability to do it at this point, and we have the ability to permit, right, everyone to attempt their most fulfilling life, right? It's not giving them anything; it's just giving them this. Right, this vast accumulated knowledge that we have, right, and then giving them access to that, right, not all the way, right, not just supreme access. It's like almost like an ovum, right, a circular mandala shape, right, where the core, right, the nucleus, right, is where the cell division takes place, right? Which is where the creation takes place, right? So we basically simulate uh, creation in alignment with nature, right? Instead of this false um, creation that has been placed in our minds, right? Which is what I've spoke about, right? This false creation is uh, it destroys itself in order to drive itself forward, right? And what I'm saying is that there's a constant fucking uh, constant creation instead of destruction, right? And this isn't, you know, not from a naive standpoint, not like an idyllic paradise or, you know, the perfect society, right? Contrast exists, polarity exists, all of these laws exist, right? But um, there's one, right? There's a fake fucking polarity, and that's the one that drives our whole fucking civilization, right? So we abandon that false polarity. But what I keep trying to say is that there is, right? It's not a utopia, right? It is just um, an acknowledgement, right? That we have the ability to create. And that when we all fucking are doing it, then our ability, our output, right, our ability to create is compounded, right, and maximized. And so, and it's not there's everyone is infinitely valuable, right? And so we don't waste all of this value, right, through in suffering. Are you fucking with it, right? So, right, it's not that there's unlimited resources. It's just that we have now the ability at this point, right, to manage what is here, right, what is available to us, and uh, permit a way of living that is that counts no one out, right, that counts everyone in, right, and so we facilitate living. It's not a handout, right, it's the exchange of value. We facilitate the exchange of value. Right. Oh man. Come on, you guys. Right? What gets me frustrated, right, is uh right, is this judgment of the successful, not me judging y'all, is y'all judging everyone else, right? Right, and taking a superior stance, right, and saying if you did it right like I did, then you could have what I have, right? And that's not how our civilization. That's not how capitalism works, right? The only way you can sell money, right, is if you fucking raise that price on the money, man. And the only way to raise a price on money is to fucking diminish the supply, is to reduce that supply radically, right? So that, right, if you're super wealthy, you've been indoctrinated into a system that teaches you to remove that money, right, and stockpile it as fast as fucking possible, right? Right? To remove money from the system. Right? That's your sacred duty in this system, right? And you're fucking us all by doing that. I apologize. But yeah, right? Pull your head out of your ass. And also, y'all are the ones that can fucking, that have a sharp sword, right? Y'all are the ones that have, the siege engine, right? You have the trebuchet, right? You have the ability to build it. Right? This is just a fucking analogy, right? Where I'm not talking about making destructive devices. I'm talking about effectiveness, right? Y'all have this ability, right, to be effective in a way that is in alignment, right, instead of just perpetuating the fucking problem. So it's not just that, right? It's not just all y'all wealthy people, right? It's the same fucking mindset is on the inverse for the other side, which is what I've struggled with my whole life. It's like I'm a fucking peasant, I grew up poor, right? I was always scrambling for fucking gear, but I'm a fucking emperor, right? Right here and here, right? I've got all these motherfucking gifts. Right? And all I get to do is fucking talk to y'all, right? And it's just like, you can believe it or not, right? But who else, right? Put me in contact with who else is doing this, right? Everyone else is trying to fix the system with the system, and you can't do that. But I am alluding to this episode that I'm going to put on the podcast, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how to say it, right? And it's on gender, right? And it's it's a fucking powder keg because of the setup, right? These words, right, have all the way they've been prepared and embellished and polished up in a way, right? And so, for me to say what I have to say, it's I don't have the right to say it, right? But who else is gonna, right? And I think it's important. I want to reach out to the females, right? And I'm not a female. So there's this whole thing about you don't get to talk about female issues because you're not a female. And I'm on your side, right? So don't get that. Don't start getting all bunched up about like I have a position about something, right? I'm just saying that this word and these ideas, these concepts are highly contentious, and I'm gonna fucking walk right down the middle, right? And I'm gonna be hitting fucking both of y'all with the flat of my sword, right? Both sides, right? And fucking pull your head out of your ass, both of y'all. And I just mean the sides of this issue, right? These gender issues. But I would say that it's just one issue. And so, right, prepare yourself, right? Prepare yourself for this difficult fucking conversation. And it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to get a female that I first have to say the shit, right? And then I'm going to have to hopefully the response, right? Because look, you guys don't comment. You don't comment on the fucking podcast. You don't comment on my fucking comments. You don't comment on my fucking interviews that I do. I mean, admittedly, I don't really look, but I don't, I'm not made aware of it. Right? It's not crossing my radar. So it's like, you got something to say about it? Nah, right? Right? This, you'll have something to say. And so when I fucking am dogging rich people, right? Because they're the problem. Because they have the ability to change everything, right? Not that I don't, but this is what I'm doing, right? All I do is have my voice, right? Me fucking, I'm not going to make excuses for fucking myself, man. I've been fucking grinding on this shit for 35 years. But no, if you have the intelligence, right? If you think you're smart enough, right? If you think your money makes you smart, right? Then actually open up, right, to these ideas, which is that you're throwing your money away, right? And then patting yourself on the back. And you're not, you're not doing shit to change the pattern. And so fucking wake up. And right, come talk to me, because I'll tell you what can be done, right? Who else is talking about it? Show me, tell me who else is saying this shit, right? That we need to abandon the corrupt exchange and create an infrastructure, right, that is sacred, right, that acknowledges our sacred mandate as human beings. Okay. All right. Jesus Christ, you guys. Give me some love. So I want to show you more stuff about the Qigong, which is the movements. There's some Tai Chi, and then I have the Merkaba meditation, right, which gives you your wings, right, which turns on your energy body, right, which gives you your angel wings. That's what you want, right? That's what you need. Do you want that shit, right? And at my age, right, I'm only getting stronger, faster, smarter, right? And part of it is doing this training. And so that's more of a marketing approach that is of the old style, right? And I don't do that shit, right? You want me to tell you you're going to look younger and you're going to be able to see better and your injuries are going to start to heal? Yeah, that's what will happen. But that's not what's important here. What's important is your psychological transformation. Okay, you guys, I hope you fucking, it's starting to sink in, and spread the word, okay? Right? If you get it, you get it, right? Tell Schmattenberger, right? It's that guy that I talk about in episode 11, I think, maybe 10. Right? You can't fix the system with the system, man. I got it. I got the method. I got the technique. I got the program. And if I start telling you all about it here, which I probably will, right? I don't know. I mean, it's just so radical that I could just say out the whole thing and no one would fucking get it. someone get it and steal my idea and just leave me out in the cold, right? Let's work together. Let's work together. We can do this. Okay, you guys, listen to the whole thing. Listen to the whole thing. If you find these, right, do the breathing, right? Even do 2 rounds before, like do the instruction. On the bottom of the videos, hit videos, scroll to the bottom, find the one that Qigong instruction, right? Goes through it, right? Do 2 rounds before you turn on this video. Do the final round with me, and then listen to what I'm saying, right? On the one hand, I'm claiming it's me, but it's true because it's the singular fucking source of this kind of discourse. Singular source on the flood motherfucking discourse. And if it's not true, right, then let me know. Who else is fucking talking about this in this way, So, right, let's collaborate, let's cooperate. We can fucking actually create a positive outcome for everyone, right? And actually turn our civilization into what it was meant to be. So watch all of them, right? Use it to do your Qigong training, right? And then sift through what I'm saying, fucking attach yourself to certain things and fucking comment on it, or fucking talk to your bros about it, or watch the whole listen to the whole podcast, right, all the way from the beginning, and then prepare yourself for the gender conversation. Principle of gender on the way, in the fucking queue. Get ready for it. All right, bye, you guys. Love you.